Hi everyone, this is Ishika Kesarwani and I welcome you all to the Tech Podcast.
Today we're having Liji Thomas with us. She's a manager at Valorem Reply and she's a Microsoft MVP. We can first start with your introduction.
Thank you, Ishika. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me once again. As Ishika said, I'm my manager at Valorem Reply and a Microsoft MVP in AI. I've been in the industry for over 15 years now, and lately my team and I has been working on a lot of modern web applications, particularly on the AI stack, which includes the Microsoft Azure AI stack. So I'm glad to be here on the podcast today.
Amazing. So I wanted to ask you what exactly was your initial spark in the IT industry and how you got to know about AI and the opportunities in this field.
So this might come across as a sort of a cliche. I will be very honest with you. I belong to a generation in India where we didn't have a lot of options other than engineering and medicine, to be very honest with you. So that said, I had a genuine passion towards IT and the computer industry. So I was like in the late 90s boom kid, and it was a time in which, at least in India, the IT industry was flourishing a lot, and we had great role models to look up to, great success stories to sort of look up to as well. It was not a very booming space for women in general, I would say, but still, it was good because I had a lot of support from my family and my friends and my community, to be fortunate. And I was genuinely curious and passionate about problem solving and about at that age you really do not have a, a say in the kind of technology that you'd be working in. But I think it was later during my college years that I developed a passion towards AI and tech. And this is at a time where AI is not a hype at all, and there's very nascent stages of natural language processing and NLP techniques and data sciences that it's just being explored in various parts of the world. But when I did my MTech, I was deeply curious about these areas, and luckily I got to work in those areas in my experience in the industry, and I still continue to work in those areas. And today it's not a hype anymore. Like AI is like real stuff. So it's great to have seen that progression and that proliferation of that technology. So where it's come from. You're grateful for how much the platforms have matured because a lot of it you've done by yourself. So it's great to be here.
Yeah, like a lot of things have changed and you have seen the whole paradigm shift. So, how were the things before and how it has changed now, recently, according to you?
Yeah, particularly for AI, I would say that to keep it very simple, there used to be a time in our industry where there was, for lack of a better word, I'd say there was a lot of gatekeeping that happened in terms of only if you had this kind of a skill set and if you belong to this kind of a background and if you had this precedence were you able to work with this kind of technology, especially cutting edge, bleeding edge technologies like AI and ML. But which is why I said I'm really grateful for the way that the industry giants, particularly in this ecosystem, have been thinking about it, and the way that they have democratized these technologies just makes it more accessible for everyday developers to be able to use it. I mean, today, if you want a low code, no code developer could have an element of AI in their application. You could infuse AI into the applications at an engineering level, and this is all without having any machine learning expertise. It's all the years of research and development that companies like Microsoft have done, that they have really given it back to the community so that anyone with basic development skills like you and I can actually start using these AI services with zero data science skills at all. And that I think has been a huge, I'd say, a big shift in the way that we have been thinking and approaching this field at all. So it's no longer just about custom machine learning models and stuff. And of course, there are applications that will require, each of these. There will be really mission critical applications that will require custom AI models and stuff. And there will be applications that an HR executive or an office administrative will be able to do to just improve efficiencies in their day-to-day work. And the fact that they are enabled to do that today using AI technologies is, I think, a very powerful phenomenon to think about.
Totally agree. Like to me, AI literally feels like magic. I mean, I look at people and they've been, creating stuff which I can't even imagine of, and how, AI is taking over each and everything, and it has been helping us so much. So, anyways, I wanted to ask you one thing, like being a woman in this industry, what were the issues that you faced and how did you tackle them?
So I can speak to myself and my experiences here. I will tell you, I did not come in with a lot of, precedence with and a lot of understanding. Honestly, I was just blindly following an area that I was passionate about and curious about. I didn't have a lot of people who came from the IT engineering industry in my family or in my circle of friends who could sort of give me that. And I think it turned out to be pretty well because I came in unfazed. That said, I think in terms of what the audience would, people who are watching this podcast, I think what they would find beneficial is, I don't want to say that there may or may not be issues and I think everyone's challenges will be very unique to their individual or personal journey. Some of the things that have helped me, if I have to like take the top one or two items, one is definitely the support of your family and your immediate circle. And I have been fortunate enough to have great mentors and great community support in my endeavor. And that when I say, to your question about being a woman, it is I've had amazing allies who not really taken the won the badge of ally. It never used to be a thing at that time, but still knowingly or unknowingly they've supported and they've mentored, they've coached, they've by means of so many ways really helped each other to grow and progress in their career. And I think that is we don't talk about that as much. And I would think even in my journey as an MVP, with all due credit, yes, MVPs, as an MVP, you have to be the person to take the action. No one can do that for you. But I will not undermine the amount of support that I have received from community program managers, from the community itself, and most of all, my peer MVPs who have like literally, guided me, directed me, shown me, given me opportunities. I think the biggest form of appreciation and the biggest form of support that you can give someone is give them the opportunities to prove themselves, to show themselves. So those kind of things are things that I think I have been fortunate enough to have in my thing. And in terms of challenges, I think at least at present, so my time is a little different from now, but at least at present I see a lot of girls coming into the IT industry, a lot of women coming into the IT industry. I think a greater challenge is with just staying in the industry, just staying in the job, and for various reasons. Like at various points during the life cycle of an employee, you would see that a woman would need to drop out, perhaps due to personal issues, and when there's no adequate support for childcare back at home, and there's a lot of other issues, and it's just stuff that is beyond just you and me. There's a lot of policies and regulations and a lot of corporate support and a lot of things that are coming into play here. Things are getting a lot better, I would think. Just because I've seen that paradigm look for a very long time, things are definitely getting a lot better. We still have a long way to go again, I would think, but I'd stay still positive about it.
Very well said. So, can you share your journey in becoming a MVP? Like, what were the issues that you faced, and how was it to become a MVP then, and the opportunities that you have received till now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I get asked this a lot, like, what does it take to be an MVP? What did you do to become an MVP? Like, what are the specific steps? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm glad you asked that question. And I'd like to just, I'm sorry to have to be able to break the bad news right here. There really is no specific steps that can be followed to be an MVP. That is simply the state of affairs. The core fundamental and I think principle here is that you need to be a champion of the technology and you need to be a champion of the community. If you have an inherent passion for people and technology, the journey becomes a lot more easier, because it's you can develop a passion for technology and kind of just stay at it, improve at it. The other would be a little more tougher, I would think. You can't fake it for long. So if you really are, I mean, it's a question you need to ask yourself. Are you genuinely passionate about people and technology? And that's a good place to start. Like, why do you want to be an MVP is a question that I would ask every other person out there, and before you get to the how and the what of it. For me, personally, now again, this might seem very unpopular. I did not like. I wasn't pursuing an MVP like for years and for ages, like many people would I think I did. I As I said, I had a lot of support from the community and peer MVPs today who sort of reached out and who helped guide me, provide me opportunities for speaking and for engagement, further engagement, how I could give back more to the community, how I could continue to add value to the community, to stay close, to work with them on so many initiatives and endeavors. And that just went on further to at a point where someone was kind enough to nominate me to be an MVP. So just FYI, you cannot self-nominate yourself to be an MVP. Someone, an existing MVP or a Microsoft employee needs to nominate you to be an MVP. So there's little scope for bragging there as well. So someone took notice, someone was kind enough to nominate me. It goes through a couple of months of audit and review. They look at your contributions to the community, and and at the end of which you are invited to be an MVP. So it's a process in itself. If you ask me, my only suggestion to anyone who's again passionate about people and technology and about community, I'd say focus less on getting the badge. It isn't about the badge per se. Ask yourself, would you continue to do what you're doing today, irrespective of the tag of the MVP? And if yes is the answer, you are an MVP and the badge will come. It will follow. It cannot not come. It will come at a certain point. And then, it is only a matter of time before which you're taken notice of, you're nominated, and you will get that badge. It's a great honor and privilege to be a part of a community like MVPs. It is no small thing at all. But I think what we need to like sort of set focus on is on the why of an MVP. For every MVP, the one thread that binds every MVP on the planet today is, I think, our innate passion for people and technology. And once that's there, there really is nothing much to stop you.
Great. You just need to learn the, art of giving to people and just not be constrained towards getting the work done. So, yeah, so you might be very well aware of the hype that AI has been creative of. Like, people have been talking about it so much right now. So, what's your view on it? Like, should people actually do it just because of the hype? And, like, what's your view on why one should start their career in AI/ML and why they should not?
Great question. I would ask that question back to the person. It's like, why would you want to deal with AI? In fact, a better question to ask is, what is the problem that you are trying to solve? Technology, as technologists, I will say I've been guilty of this myself. I've been, biased to put the technology upfront as it's sort of like what I always refer to, the if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail to you. So if you know a specific technology, you're biased to use that technology to solve every other problem that comes your way. And I'll be honest, I've made that mistake myself. Um, Again, from my years of experience, I can tell you the focus should be on the problem that we are trying to solve, whether it is for a customer, it's for an end user. As empathetic as you are about the people that you're trying to solve the problem for, think what makes sense for them. Not every problem in the world can be solved with AI and ML. It's not a magic bullet that can solve every problem in the universe. So maybe when you think about the problem, AI and ML is a good area to focus on, maybe because that helps. And if you don't have that skill set, you might decide to bring in a team that has that skill set. Maybe you don't need a hammer to break an egg. Maybe you just need another set of tech skills to solve that particular problem. So where we are right now at the industry, the focus is really less on the specifics of the technology. Like, do we use AI, ML? Do you use AR, VR, MR? Do we use IoT? Do you use blockchain? Like, it's it's less on that and more really on what makes sense for the end user. Like, what is the problem that you're trying to solve for them? Technology will follow, and then stage 2 or stage 3, we can talk about really the technology. For anyone who wants to get started in the AIML field, again, you can start looking at the kind of problems that will be solved using AIML. If it's a field that really excites you, as I said, there's no longer gatekeeping that happens in this universe. Like, there's a lot of material that's out there, free and otherwise as well, for you to just start understanding the basics of AI and ML. You can start developing your skills slowly, irrespective of where you are at today. I mean, no matter what your skill sets are, you could be a developer, you could not be one, you could be an IT professional, you could be an administrator. Like, irrespective of what your skill level is at today, there's still options for you to get started on the AI bandwagon.
Amazing. So, what advice will you give to a student who is starting their IT career from the from your journey, from the struggles that you have been getting out of the comfort zone that you have learned?
So for students particularly, I would say, in AI ML apart, and I'd say that for the interns and for the freshers who come into the organization as well. Um, I hate to tell you the bad news, but if you think that the learning has just been completed, has been wrapped up with your university degree exams, here's where you're going to come in for the surprise. You're going to just started on the learning journey thus far. And if there's something more difficult than learning in our industry, it is the unlearning part. So welcome to the journey of learning and unlearning and relearning whatever you've done. So going out of your comfort zone is a less talked about problem. Like, it is a an implicit expectation of every software engineer or technologist that you would continue to evolve and learn new techniques and tools, because, as we discussed, the focus is not on the technology. The focus is on what does it take to solve the user's problem. And if it is something that it's got to take a tool that is not there in your toolkit today, you have a couple of options of either learning it yourself, or you can get help from other members on your team or other teams who have that skill set. And you'd see that the way the industry is progressing, I'm not using a lot of technologies that I learned in college, or at least a couple of technologies that I used earlier in my career are unfortunately obsolete right now. So I've had to evolve and adapt myself to this growing changes in this, and it's been fun. See, change is scary, but what is more scary is just staying where you're at. Like, constant change can be very overwhelming for you. And the only nugget I would add to that is, and I think a lot of technologists go through this as well, is the fear of missing out. Like, oh, there's this silver thing that I heard about at the horizon. Like, do I need to learn that? Do I need to learn this as well? So I always stay focused on what is the problem that we are trying to solve here. And if that technology makes sense to you and your business and to your team, maybe consider. Else, there's just so much happening in our industry that it's practically not possible to meet all of that in the time and resources that we have available at.
Exactly. Learning is literally the part of your journey. It's never going to stop.
Yes.
So, I guess with that, we can wrap up today's session. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out your time and sharing your journey with us. It was a very insightful session. And to all the listeners, thank you so much for joining us. And stay tuned because we are going to come up with many more videos like this. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ishika.